What is up, TBC? It's your boy, Tough Bills, coming back at you guys with yet another video, guys. Welcome back. I have something to tell you right after this. Well, guys, the EcoBoost has left the building. And why has she left the building? Well, I'm about to tell you right here, right now. Only coming from your own Rebel G Tough Bills. Here we go, guys. I'm going to tell you the real reason why Silver Bullet went into the hospital today. She was acting kind of weird yesterday, and her muffler sound was actually getting kind of weird. Everything was just sounding weird. It wasn't running the way how it's used to be ran. And I already knew that something was going on with her. So I went ahead and I took her to Kelly's Car Care. They had it for about maybe 30 minutes. They took it on a test drive. He was like, oh, you know, she feels great. She drives great. She sounds great, whatever the case may be. Then he looks at me and he says, have you done anything to the car that maybe you didn't do before or that you did recently or whatnot? And I looked at him. I said, well, the only thing that I've done really recently was an oil catch can. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the picture real quick, and that's going to be inputted now. Just as you guys seen right now, she is running very lean. She's running at 234 PSI, which is a very low fuel going into her, which is very bad. That indicates that she is running very lean. So I took it over to them. They had that scan going on. They called my warranty company. My warranty company supposedly said, you know what, send him to Ford. He's still covered underneath Ford's powertrain, so go ahead and send him over. So I went ahead, I went to, I think, Davidville at Ford. I think that's where I took it. And they went ahead and started asking me questions about her and whatnot, and what the case was, and why I was bringing her, and all this bull crap, when they should have already been informed the reason why I was bringing her in the first place. But who really cares? She's there. This time, I don't really have a rental car to show you guys. So yeah, it's not here yet. It hasn't been approved by Ford if they can even fix the problem, or if the problem was caused by maybe the turbo. I'm really hoping that they will replace my turbo so I can get a brand new one. If you guys feel me? But, you know, it's getting close to that time where my car isn't going to be in warranty anymore. So I kind of want to make sure that I get this covered before the car runs out of warranty. That way, I don't have to worry about it too much. But today, guys, the reason why I'm making this video, and I have to make a video for you guys because, like I said, I enjoy doing these. I love them. So, back to the way where we were. We're working on the 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And yes, once again, it is time. We're doing an oil change. We're doing a whole 9-yard tune-up. So we're doing oil change, spark plugs, and we're also doing in-cabin filter, air filter. We're also going to be doing the transmission and the differential, but that'll be on a different video. I have to wait for those to be ordered. And we're also going to be doing the brakes on her. So if you are new here and you may own a Jeep Grand Cherokee, don't know how to change their brakes, or maybe don't even know how to change your rear or your front differential fluid, right here is the best place to learn. We all learn on this channel. And also, if you may not know about the transmission, transmission's gonna be a little bit tricky, guys. Don't mess with it if you ain't got the skill. Make sure that what you are taking out of it, you are putting back into it. Just make sure of that. So if you have jugs, like an oil jug can, pour the oil that came out of the transmission into the oil jug can. Then you have to multiply that by 2 because not everything is gonna come out of the bucket that you poured all the oil in, for one. And all the oil that came out of that transmission is not going to all come out either. So just make sure you guys put the amount in the same way that you took it out. Okay? Because you can't reverse it. You can't put 2 more and then go, oh crap, I put too much. No, you can't do that. You can put less, but not 2 more. So let's go ahead, jump into the Jeep Grand Cherokee. If you own one of these bad boys, V6, 4-cylinder, whatever the case may be, an all-wheel drive event, these Jeeps can be a little tricky. They are very fun to learn on, though. I can definitely tell you that right now. we have this plastic shield up here, which needs to be removed. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna twist that off, put that off to the side, and this puppy isn't screwed on or anything. It's really simple as just lifting her off. Once you guys have gotten that part off, as you guys seen, really super easy. Look down at this engine real quick. Let's take a swirl. So this engine looks kind of dirty, but it's reasonable because we live in Arizona. There's 2 spots. Yes, that is your oil dipstick. Don't put transmission fluid into the oil. Will not be pretty. Right here is where your filter sits. It's pretty weird, I know. Don't judge it, but it's right here. This is where your Jeep Grand Cherokee's filter is at, and I'm going to show you guys the filter. I've shown it before in another video, but we're going to do it here again. This is where your oil pours into. Make sure you guys get 5W30, don't get 5W20, and make sure you guys do this the proper way and don't mess up on it. Very, very, very important not to mess up on this. So just keep that in mind, and then we're going to show you guys how to change out all 6 spark plugs today, and how to put the cabin filter and the air filter in. And we're going to go ahead and jump to the rest of everything else probably in the next video. Spark plugs. Let's go ahead into this route. As you guys see, the motor is pretty much covered in a whole bunch of plastic. This is the way this generation is now. I don't know why, don't ask me, but it's covered in frickin' plastic, guys. So there's a lot of things that we have to disconnect ordinary to get into the first 3 spark plugs. And the other 3, which are going to be on this side, right underneath this, which that's your intake, by the way, goes directly down to your valves, so it feeds your valves air. So right here, this part right here, there's a lot of hoses that we have to disconnect, and you kind of have to, it's so hard to even explain it right now, but we have to take off all these connectors that are on here. Every electronic connector that's on your intake system, you're going to have to take off. Every hose that's on your intake system, we're going to have to take off. And then once we get all of those disconnected, I can actually properly show you guys which ones were on it and which ones you need to be careful of. And in the meantime, I'm also going to tell you that this thing right here is a pain in the butt to get out. Just this part. Right there. That's a pain in the butt. Including that one. Because this side actually has about 7 or 8 screws bolted into it. There's also a bracket that is holding this guy down, so we have to take off the bracket as well. The first 2 screws are going to be these guys. They're most likely going to be 8mm, so make sure you have one of those, or if you have a star bit, perfect. They do have star bits on them as well, so if you can't get in there with a wrench or an extension with the wrench, well, don't worry about it. It's going to be plain as easy, night and day. We're going to do it here on Tough Builds. I'm going to show you all of the screws that need to be unbolted and what needs to be unbolted, but I have to do it first because, as you guys can tell, can't really show you guys much because everything is just so secluded into this motor. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking the whole intake system out. I'm going to start masking off the ones that I do take off so I can actually show you guys which ones I did take out, and you guys can see across the board of how many connectors and hoses that you have to disconnect just to get to your first 3. On this year of Jeep, it's actually pretty easy to get at least a whole intake system out of this side. There's only one hose here, which hooks up to your air inbox. This right here, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to feel like it's screwed down, but it's not. It's actually a pin that goes inside here, and it's this guy right there. That thing just sits inside this hole, and then it comes around and it wraps around to here, and it goes right into the throttle body. This time I already did a little bit of it already, but clean up this area. Don't let any dust get into your spark plug inputs. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean around the boots a little bit more, dust it off the vacuum, go ahead and take them off, and then air blow them out once again before I start unscrewing the spark plugs on this side, and we're gonna get to that. If you guys run into like a problem like this is a problem here in Arizona. Hoses that just break. But I'm gonna fix it for them, so it's not a big deal. It's common out here in Arizona, so just make sure you know what you're touching, what you're feeling. This was actually just hanging on there like that. It was not even pushed in, so I knew something wasn't right. And these are your fuel canisters, so be really careful with those. Your evaporator is what they're actually preferred as. So make sure that gets fixed if you have the same problem as anybody else does. As you guys can tell, this motor isn't really in the really good condition. It's kind of dirty, but I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit. I am gonna clean that throttle body, because I don't know if you guys can see how black it is. It's probably even darker in the inside. So definitely clean that, open up some more horsepower. I mean, it's just common, just clean them out. Shit happens. After that, guys, we're gonna try to take out this guy. And this one is a little bit more complicated, but trust me, once we get it, it's down the hill from there. And that's all we gotta do is just change out those plugs, put this guy back on. There is a torque level for these, by the way. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna post it here. From what I know, anyways, most of these air intakes, especially when they go directly into your valves, is they have to be at least 150 to 177 inch-pounds. So we're gonna see what this one is. It's a good thing I have an inch-pound torque, and then we're gonna go ahead and get done with that part. So just to give you guys an update on the progress beyond the progress. Yes, you can see the vacuum. You know, I love to use the vacuum in everything. And why? Because not only does this vacuum suck dirt, but it also blows dirt as well. So there's two things that vacuum does, and it really comes really good when I need it for mechanical use. So I thank God for that vacuum. I got the throttle body off, by the way. The throttle body is looking super duper clean now. So make sure you guys clean that though, because that will ruin your throttle response. Bucket of bolts. Can you guys think what the reason why I have a bucket of bolts? I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Jeep, Chrysler, Jesus, Chrysler. Anyways, so the whole thing, moral behind the moral, if you guys have a 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee, the real good thing is that there is two bolts behind here holding your, basically, that chingada on here. Your throttle body is being held on. I just took it off to clean it, and I also cleaned inside of here too. It's really oily, and I got all the oil out. But behind the plastic, there's gonna be that bolt sticking out right here. There's gonna be a nut on there. And then right behind it, this way, you're gonna fill another bolt, which will also fill your fuel evaporating system right there, fuel hose, whatever. And then you come over here to this girl. This is where the fun starts kicking in. See these screws that I have facing up right now? Don't mess with those. Don't. That's for your fuel rail. So I'm gonna go ahead and buckle those back down. In the end, you have more bolts that you have to take off. So you have one here, you have one here, you have one here, then you have one right here. Sorry, this thing is hiding it. One right here. Then you go in here and you have one here. And then right on this side you have one on here. You're gonna need a deep socket to get into those two. You're not done yet. Then you come over to the back side and you have one here. And then you have one over there. So all of those bolts need to be taken out just so you can take out the intake. Don't mess with the ones that I have standing up. I just did that to make sure I didn't have to take them out, which thank God I don't, because the manifold is off now. I just have to push it this way and then lift up and it comes out. It's just trying to get that back bolt back there is a pain in the butthole. So just make sure that you don't drop it. That would suck. So I know how to do it, is you just get it loose enough with the wrench. Then you go ahead and go in with your finger. If you have fat hands, well, get a magnet, stick a magnet inside of the socket, and then go ahead and start unscrewing the rest of that bolt. But make sure that the magnet doesn't get stuck to anything else over here. Just make sure it stays inside of that tube that you're putting it in, or the socket rather. And then this is where the fun begins, guys. You guys also notice I cleaned up this whole entire section right here. Look how nice and black that looks now. It looks way better than the whole entire engine, doesn't it? When I get to this side, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna clean up all this mess, because honestly, guys, you really don't want anything getting inside of these ports and into your intake manifold ports. You just don't want that stuff in there. It goes in there, even a little small speck will throw a code. So make sure you clean it really well. And I mean, there's gonna be small little bits of smoke, but you don't really have to worry about that too much. Just make sure that it's cleaned around the rim where you're working at, and you're not blowing on it or anything like that, so it can't go in there. Then you're fine. These are pretty steady, and you know, you don't have to worry about it too much. Me, on the other hand, I worry because I'm just that car freak. If you guys are seeing that, that's my jacket, by the way. You're probably gonna think it was a ghost, but it's not. It's my jacket. And then get a bucket like this. Put all your bolts that you guys are taking out of your intake manifold, so that way when you guys put them inside the bucket, you guys know exactly where they're at and you won't lose them. It's a very, very big, strong mechanical way. Or you can put them in baggies and label them if you're not sure. Maybe you might mess up, or maybe you might put them in the wrong spot. There's a lot of things that people do. I understand them. You know, I had a Dodge and I kind of missed a bolt or two. Make sure you guys check inside your boots, outside your boots, the connectors, everything before you start putting it all back together again. So this way, if you have a secondary vehicle, you'll be able to just shoot over to O'Reilly's and go ahead and get another boot before you start putting your car back together again. And that would really suck to find out that one of your boots was bad and you weren't paying attention and you get a misfire error code. It just won't be pretty, guys. So make sure you guys pay attention to what you're taking apart and keep going at it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy off. Then we'll come back later when, I guess, when it's back together again. I mean, there's really nothing more I can show you than trying to show you how to get this intake off. That's my main source. This is the reason why I want to make this video, because this guy is a pain in the butt. You don't know how to do it. Well, that's why Tough Builds is here for you guys. I'm always going to be here for you guys. So there's another thing too. Make sure you guys disconnect the hose hanging from this guy, and also the connector that's on that as well. That way you guys don't go ahead and yank that right out of the socket and break something. That won't be smart either. So back to work I go. I have a few more hours to do this, and then I gotta put this thing back together and start her up. Being a mechanic for quite some time, I can't believe it took me this long to get that off. What a pain. But anyways, there's gonna be one of these right here. So you're gonna see it. Mine's on the floor right now, sadly. Basically what it holds is the AC line, which is on the bottom down here where my hand is at. So it's not gonna release this bracket. So the best way that I came to the conclusion is to just take the pin out. The pin can go back in once you're done, if you can find it, but it's not necessary, to be honest. It's really not. These bolts over here that are on this row right here hold this guy down, so that there's not going to be any air leaks. The only reason why the other one was on that side and holding that down is God knows what, to be honest. I think they just used it as a bracket for the AC line and to cover up this. And what you're going to find underneath there is going to be a pad, just like this. I'm pretty sure this pad is to prevent leaks, so don't forget to put that back on. It's about almost 5 now, I think. Probably it is 5. And I'm barely getting to this side, guys. I started at 10, and I'm here now. So be patient with it. Don't get frustrated like I did. If you did, just take that bolt out on that side. This one I would definitely unscrew, and it's a hassle to even get it out of this spot, because it feels like there's something attached to it still when there's really not. So I just put my hand underneath it as much as I could to feel around the back side of it, and there was nothing there. So I knew that this pin was getting caught somewhere, and that's exactly what happened. That pin was getting caught and it wasn't releasing, so it finally released, and it took me a little bit of a grab to get it out. So pull it, but don't play tug of war with it. Just pull it enough to where you will hear a bloom noise, and then you'll know that it's off. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and brush up this stuff. I gotta hurry up and get these plugs in, guys, and then I gotta start putting this beast back together. Then I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna have a really good night's sleep knowing that I finished another job. So let's go ahead and put those back in. We're gonna put everything back together. If it's not too late, I'm gonna do a test start, and that's about it for tonight, guys. So let's get her done. The car is actually running really good now, guys, after changing all 6 spark plugs out of that Jeep Grand Cherokee. It has 86,000 miles, has never been done since he actually purchased the car, which was at like 36,000. So we've put a lot of miles on these spark plugs, so it's good that I actually have the chance to get in there, change them out. They were nasty, there were no more to be seen. One more thing I want to add: if you are using Iranium spark plugs, do not gap them, because you will ruin the little pin that sits on the bottom of it. You don't want to do that. It will throw everything twacky tobacco. Yes, some of them are not gapped the right way. Just throw them in there. If your motor gets fucked, you can sue the company. If you guys are stopping in for the very first time, you guys enjoy my content, love seeing cars getting rebuilt, putting new parts inside of cars, modifying cars. I'm going to be modding my Mustang EcoBoost, so if you are new, make sure you guys go ahead and smash the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell on the side so you guys get notified when I do post a video the next time. Also, if you guys want to pick up your very own Tough Build jacket, I just released a new one. Go ahead and check it out. I'm going to be posting it right here. You'll see a little pop-up. Go ahead and click on that guy, or it will be down in the description below you. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you guys go ahead and drop that down in the comment section down below, and I will be surely answering those very soon. Don't forget to share this video with all of your family, your pets, your beds, your couches, every single thing that you guys have inside the house. Let's get this video growing, guys. We are 533 subscribers. I am blessed, guys. I thank every single one of you that has hit that subscribe button. I thank you guys. Thank you. You guys were just watching Tough Build. Thank you guys for joining me once again. I'll see you guys in the next banger.
With